Buongiorno. Today we're doing comfort food, that delicious long braising of meat. A nice piece of braised pork. It braises on forever. Some luscious mashed potatoes with olive oil. So what are we gonna braise this morning, you're asking me? Pork shoulder. And again, look for those different cuts of meat, the secondary cuts of meat, all of those added muscle, the shank, all of that, that's great for braising. Here is sort of half of a shoulder. You will get it most likely with the skin. My grandma used to put it in the minestra all the time, in a soup like pasta fagioli, or also the Sunday sauce. But in this case, let's just take it right off. And the knife, you need a sharp knife. And what's important whenever you're butchering anything is that you just let it sort of glide. Let the knife take the lead. You kind of set it up. You don't want to pressure the knife. Now, I want to do it only one piece, but you can certainly do it in little pieces, and it's perfectly fine if that makes it easier for you. All right. So I'm looking at this. You need a little fat. The outer fat, you want to leave that. Otherwise, if you go right to the meat, it gets tougher. So a little bit of fat is fine. Let's salt the meat. And this big piece of meat, even if you salt it before a half an hour or so, that's fine. So the salt permeates inside. Okay, so good braising needs a good sturdy pot, a thick pot, cast iron, I love. So this way that the heat sort of climbs up the sides and it cooks from all sides, not just from underneath. Some oil, and just let's brown the meat on all sides. We're getting kind of those caramelization flavor, but also the meat begins to build flavor rather than just flopping in the sauce. That's good for a soup. And let's talk about that. So, when you want soup and you want your juices to be really flavorful, then you put a lot of water or liquid and you put your meat in so that when it cooks, all the flavors of the meat come out and flavor the soup. When you want braising, you want the meat to be flavorful, but you also want the sauce to be flavorful. You continue to add a little bit of liquid at a time. It needs to be covered, but the liquid has to be added periodically. You know, for a good piece of meat like that, you need to be able to handle it well. A good chef's fork is great. So, secondary cuts of meats. You know, it's very important for you to really understand and have a communication with your butcher. These are the people that are experts, and you should be using that knowledge from them to sort of get better yourself. So you see it's getting kind of caramelized on all sides. Even on the side, I turn it on the side of the bone too. Gives it flavor. You know, butchering and cuts of meat reminds me very much, of course, of my childhood. Around January, February, we would go to a fair, and my grandmother, my grandfather would buy 2, 3 little pigs. And it was funny because those little piglets, they were so adorable. My grandfather would pick them up by the back legs and look at them, look at their structure. Oh, this one is going to be a big one. This is going to be nice prosciuttos. And in a year, they grew up to be big. And the next November or December was the slaughter. And it was like a ritual. It was a respected ritual. Everybody in the town did it at different times, and everybody helped each other, you know, 2 days at each home in actually making the prosciutto, making the sausages for the year to come. It was fun and it was delicious. Okay, I think that we got this nice and brown on the outside. We'll rest it here, and we'll begin with the sauce. Apple cider vinegar. There's an affinity between apples and pork. So apple cider here is really good. Of course, some good white wine. And we're gonna begin to make the basis of the flavorful liquids that the pork is gonna stew in, that it's gonna slowly cook. So let me just crack some garlic cloves, and we'll strain this. We could have toasted the garlic cloves, but you know, by the time they're finished, they'll be completely cooked and they will have let out all of their flavor. Certainly some salt and some water, some plain water. Now, would it be better with if you have stock? Yeah, if you have stock, of course, the complexity will be a little bit more. But you know what? You will make our own flavorful sauce and stock here. Rosemary, branches of rosemary, some sage here. Okay. Okay, so all of this will come to a boil and bubble. We'll put this back into it. And as you can see, it's not covered with liquid. We'll cover it with its own steam and we'll turn it and we'll continue to add liquid. And eventually after about, an hour and a half to 2 hours, this will be delicious. The pork has been braising for well over an hour, so it's time to think about our side orders. And I love turnips. I don't think they're very much used, but I love them. They're a great vegetable. They're easy. So usually they come like this sometimes they have the greens. And the question is you just peel it, you treat it almost like a potato. And we'll brown this, get it nice and colorful in a pan with a little bit of oil. And then we'll add it to the braising meat. We used a lot of turnips. It's a great root vegetable. It's a winter vegetable. My grandmother used to pickle it, and we used to eat it even like this, like apple, crunchy. Just a little bit of salt, and high speed, nice and caramelized. Let's check on the meat. The aroma is really great. So I'm looking at, it's almost breaking off the bone and we want it there, but I want to taste it to make sure that we have all the seasoning in order. It's delicious, really nice. There's nice acidity, the saltiness is correct, so that's good. So we'll continue cooking that. We let this caramelize. Okay, so the turnips are nice and caramelized. Let's add them to the pork. Let's nestle them in there and it'll bubble away. And while the turnips cook and the meat finishes, let's make some mashed potatoes, with the nice braised with nice juice, some mashed potatoes. But I have a twist to this mashed potato. So, boiling water. Let's add the potatoes, a few bay leaves, a few garlic cloves to flavor them, and we'll let that come to a boil and cook. And when it's just about finished, we'll add some fava beans. It's part of the area that I come from where we kind of extend our potatoes with vegetables. And so here I have fava beans, and when they're in season, they're the best. So what do you do with fava beans? You have to just open up, and inside, it's like a safe haven, almost padded, so that these will survive well. Take this, and you blanch it in hot water, and the idea is that this skin, there's another skin to it. You could even peel it like this, but if you blanch them for a few minutes, the skin will just kind of pop off. That's the tough skin. You want the inside, the bean that's inside, just like that. Another option is that you could buy frozen fava beans, and frozen fava beans, which these are already blanched. So you can pinch a little bit and then you just press it out. For that matter, frozen vegetables, they're just as good and you can have them any season. Now with the flash freezing techniques, they really retain all the goodness and all the nutritional values. So frozen vegetables are really a great alternative. Now another alternative are lima beans, and these are frozen lima beans, and if you don't have the favas, the lima beans will be just as good. So the turnips and the meat are braising, the potatoes are on their way. When they're just about finished, we'll combine and make the mashed potatoes and we'll be ready to taste. The potatoes just about cooked. Let me throw in the favas. Now the favas have been blanched and they don't need much cooking, just the last minute right in. Okay. Let's check on the meat. The turnips are nice and soft, actually. I will just put this on and shut this off because this is ready. Let me drain this. we'll put some oil, and you know, I love my potatoes, mashed potatoes. You can put butter, you can put cream. I just love olive oil. Let's pick out the bay leaves. Let's throw the potatoes right in. So I need some salt in here. Let's kind of roughly mash it. I don't want all of the favas to become a mush. Or some oil here. Some grated cheese, or you can put grano parmigiano. But pecorino was very nice. Fava and pecorino, which is a sheep's milk cheese, really go good together. So some grated pecorino. So let's begin to plate the potatoes. Okay, that looks like a great mound. Maybe a little bit of oil just like that. Okay, buono. So a nice family presentation. This beautiful piece of meat that it's almost kind of falling off the bone. I will put this here in this, but I want to show you that you see how it falls right off the bone. This piece right here, kind of falling right off. There you go. So you can have the whole big piece like that, or take it all off the bone and slice it, just like that. And you can put this right around the meat. Or if you have some left over, is to shred. You know, all these little pieces, and people love shredded pork. You just collect the fat out of it. So we have it, you know, the whole big, beautiful presentation. Then we have some shredded right here. And as well as sliced. So now let's collect the turnips. And they look luscious. So you have the kind of needles of rosemary and herbs. And you can go there and pick them out, but you can just leave them in there and they'll be just as good. Okay. So here we have the actual gravy. You can strain it and put it on the side, but certainly I would put some right on top. Okay. And whenever you cut meat, it needs a little bit of salt inside. And so I'm looking at this and I'm going to taste it for you. Actually, I'm already here. So what would I like to taste where? First of all, I'd like a little bit of the potatoes, certainly. Then I'd like a turnip, absolutely, just a little bit. Now, this is a miniature dish of what you have prepared here, but let's taste it. The pork is really delicious. Of course, I need a little bit of red wine. This one is from Friuli. You know, Friuli is the area that I come from, and we do a lot of this kind of cooking. So, salute!